Welcome, all you lost miners and everyone else out there on Web3. Welcome to episode 3 of Miners After Dark. Tonight, we're going to be focusing on the shift change, and we're going to get into what that is exactly. And we have a few people on today. We have Discord user BJams. We also have Discord user Rockatech, and then we also have Discord user Kyle005. Those two helping us out, sitting in while Gen Con is on an extended tour of high school athletics, and she'll be joining us again soon. Jams, before I turn it over to you to see how it's going, I want to ask you one thing. For folks who are miners, they know why they're tuning in. For folks who are not in the Lost Miner community, who are Web3 people, let's just look at it. If you're in Web3 and you're not in Lost Miners, why should you listen to the rest of the show right now?
Sure. I mean, we're going to be talking about something that is super unique. It's going to be an example of how innovative this team is that created Lost Miners, and how they really bend over backwards to not only be innovative but to make decisions for the best interest of the community in mind. And I think that everyone will be impressed when they hear more about it.
Awesome. All right. And Kyle, do you have anything to add about someone who's not in Lost Miners and your advice to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, what BJam said, just the overwhelming support of the team for the community. Usually it's community driven, which this definitely is. I say we because I feel such a part of this, have one of the best communities in this space, and to have equally the same thought for the team, the developers, the entire staff, if you will, is just amazing. So that, for those reasons, I think anyone that's not in it is missing out.
Agreed. Rockatech, is that when you saw that we were going to be talking about shift change tonight, is that something that's been on your radar, or is that something where you're like, I can talk about it, but that's not? Are you getting excited about it, to participate in it, to witness it, or do you have any other thoughts?
It's been a growing excitement as I see the conversations go back and forth in Discord and amongst our members. I think it's a growing excitement that I didn't really know that I had. So it is helpful to see that conversation come to life.
That's awesome. Jams, is that I'm pulling up on the screen now for folks to see, is that Blokpax has created a link. And can you tell us about this link? So there were 10,000 Lost Miners minted. And what are we looking at on the screen right here?
So Blokpax did something that most projects don't do, and that's they decided not to have any royalties on the project whatsoever. Instead of having royalties, they decided to hold back 3,500 miners. Those miners are going to be held back for at least 3 years, and when they are released, they're going to be released very, very slowly. So, to me, it's if unless it's in my pocket, if it's not in my pocket, I feel the safest with Blokpax holding it in terms of the diamond hands. So they have 3,500. And this website was built by one of our users, Tino, I'm not sure how he pronounces it, but he puts together some phenomenal things for us, and this is great. So this shows all 3,500 that BP owns, and he's even made it so we're able to look up, all the different traits and sort it.
And actually, if you look on the screen now, you'll see exactly what you're talking about, just a portion of it.
And this is great because, this is everything that I would normally use OS for, but he was able to make this so much more user-friendly. I don't know if anyone else, but if I'm switching from, I want to see one trait on OS and I'm switching to another, it takes me time. I have to, drag it down. He was able to make it so nice. So I don't know why, with the amount of money OS has, they can't develop something nearly as user friendly as this.
And we'll make sure to put the link for this tool in the description. So folks listening to this will be able to click on the link so they can go and find this tool. Rocketech, do you use this tool, or do you have the problems that Jamps is talking about on OS, and you like this better, or do you use them both?
No, I love this tool. Since this came out, I browse it all the time. It's a lot easier to navigate than waiting on OS to load, and this has been really awesome to get my heads around what's out there, especially like what's in the wallet, what can we find. This has been a great tool.
Okay, thanks. And we're going to move on now. We're going to talk about shift change basics. Now, I have to admit, I was doing something in real life and I was away from the Discord for a couple of days. And every once in a while, you can be away from the Lost Miner Discord community and not miss something. But most of the time, if you miss 2 days, you miss a lot. And so when Gen Con said she wanted to talk about shift change, I'll admit I had to go back and catch up on all the details that are going on. So, James, can you walk us through the shift change basics that people are seeing on the screen?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be a Dutch auction. For anyone not familiar with a Dutch auction starts with a high asking price, and then the number slowly comes down until someone says, yeah, I'll pay that. So I don't know what number Blokpax is going to be starting at. I don't know if they're all going to start at the same number or if rarer ones might start higher. But just for an example, let's say they all start at 20, meaning you would have to trade 20 of your miners for that one. There's not very many miners that are going to, in my eyes at least, I mean, someone else might pay that are going to command that amount. There's one-on-ones that, but I don't think we're going to see those in that, but we'll never know. So then, let's say it was a blue hoodie that we really liked. No one's trading 20 for it. No one's trading 19, 18. But once it gets down to a number that someone says, yeah, I would trade 7 of my miners for it. Well, they're going to click the button and then they're going to win that one. So they're not going to be firehousing these things. They're only doing this to give back ones to the community that the community really wants. They've been letting us actually request which ones. So I don't know how it's going to work in terms of, are they going to have 5 up? Is there going to be 20? Is there going to be 50? I'm really not sure, but I'm really excited to find out.
I do find it interesting that Frenchie, and one of the things, we have a little asterisk in our slides that say nothing is set in stone. Frenchie is famous for kind of thinking on the fly and sharing with the community, which we really appreciate. But we also have to acknowledge that things change when they get finalized. So everything we're talking about here could change. But this is where Blokpax is right now. But one of the things Frenchie mentioned is there'll be a floor. So the team at Blokpax is going to decide, like, that miner that we have in our vault that we're going to allow you to swap in is worth at least 5. And if nobody offers us 5 miners, we're not going to drop it to 4. And the other thing in his language is there aren't going to be any miners that get down to 1-to-1. So clearly they're trying to reduce the supply of miners in the ecosystem. Is that, and Kyle, you have anything to add just about this slide right here?
No, just, my curiosity is the same as everyone else's as far as where's it going to start, how many are going to be available at a time. Are they going to have 10 auctioned at a time, 1 at a time, with a short window of opportunity? So many scenarios going through my head that I'm just curious and excited to find out about. That's
a great point. Sorry, go ahead.
Bobby, can I chime in one thing real quick? I want to be clear, because I have heard a little bit of chatter with some people that might not be as excited about it because they don't have a lot of miners right now. So they're like, well, I'm not, if I have 3 miners, I'm not going to trade them all for 1. I get that. I wouldn't either if I were in that. So, but I still think they should be excited. Why do I think they should be excited? Well, I look at this as a deflationary mechanic. Now, anything that we're trading in, it's not getting burned, okay? So it's not technically deflationary. That being said, it's being locked up for at least 3 years in BP. 3 years of Web3 is a very, very long time. So to me, every miner that everyone holds becomes that much more valuable for every one that gets sent in on this trade. So yes, Is that as exciting as being able to trade for one that you've been dying for? Maybe not. That being said, I still think it's going to be a benefit for the entire ecosystem.
Well,
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead, Rocketech. Was that you, Kyle?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was just agreeing with him. I apologize.
Yeah, well, and I think one thing that's left unsaid, Jamps, is that hopefully what happens, because I have a couple of the clean-looking miners without any attributes, so I expect a lot of those to get traded in. So the other thing is, I'm looking for my quote-unquote plain miners to become more rare over the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point. If too many if one thing gets sent in, it's going to become rare. You're not wrong on that.
And James, if you look at the next slide, is that in the post that Frenchie shared with us, what's his goal why is he doing this shift change?
I mean, he knows that there's a bunch of really cool miners sitting there that people in the community would love to have. And it wouldn't be fair for him to say, "Oh yeah, B-Jams, I'll trade you this one for," that's not fair. This way, listen, everyone's going to get the same opportunity. If someone is willing to trade in more miners than I am for one that I really, really want, well, you know what? Then they deserve it more than I do.
Kyle, are you planning on trading in for one or several or none?
I hope to. It's just I'm not gonna lie. I've got a pretty decent little stack of 30. I have plans to trade in up to half of those if the right opportunity comes about, and I don't know that it will be all like a trade all for one. I'm hoping to get 4 or 5 out of that, but depends on where the floor is. It depends on how many are going to be available. There's just a lot of factors. So I hope to trade up to some, yes.
And Rocketech, what about you? And are you hoping to trade some in?
I had like 4 set aside for trading purposes to do this shift, and I had one came up that I really wanted, and it went up for trade, so I went ahead and traded for it. I know that that's not going to get me the wonder that I need, so now I've got to rethink my whole shift strategy here because I've already kind of traded the allocation out.
And isn't that great? I mean, what's great about Frenchie, and for folks, we talked at the beginning of the show about why people not involved in Lost Miners or Blokpax should be interested in this. What they need to understand about Frenchie, the creator of Blokpax, is he creates a game within a game within a game. So Rocketech, you're talking about you had an opportunity to trade into one you wanted, so it affected how you're going to approach the shift change. But James, let me ask you, one of the things that I was sitting there thinking about his rule that, and we're not going to get into wonders right now because that's another long show, but folks listening need to understand there's a benefit to holding miners and what it will get you to the first proof of stake NFT collection. And one of the things that Frenchie has said is when you trade 2 miners in, that guarantees you 1 wonder. If you trade in 3, it only guarantees you 1 wonder. If you trade 4, it guarantees you 2. So in other words, there's no rounding up. Will that affect you, Jams, when you're sitting there thinking about bidding? Are you going to hesitate to bid an odd number, knowing that, that combined with another odd number shift change trade in, you just lost a wonder?
Well, I hadn't thought about it. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to be aiming to be sending in even numbers. That's for sure. If one that I was dying for was at 8 and then it was at 7, and I really thought someone was going to take a 6, of course I'm going to grab it at 7. But that's going to be a hard decision to try to make on the fly. What someone else might be willing to pay for it. So I'm looking forward to it. But I couldn't tell you. I'm definitely going to walk away with some. But I don't know how many are going to be offered up. So if there's 20, I probably would get 2 or 3. I would think. If there's 50, maybe I'm getting 5. I think I'll probably be aiming for around 10% of whatever is put out. But I don't feel I have to trade for them.
That's interesting that you're focusing on a percentage. That's interesting strategy. I just pulled up on the screen in front of you the what we just talked about, trading in your miners and the benefit you get of wonders. It's interesting because we've talked about how the lost miners just exist. There's no roadmap to them. But what's interesting is there is a utility now, right, Jamps? Isn't this a utility for the wonders?
So, Frenchie's done a lot of work to make sure that this collection, is going to stand on its own, not have outside influences. That being said, he also didn't want to leave out, this great new community from the benefits that the rest of the ecosystem is be getting in terms of getting on this first proof of stake collection, the wonders. So, yeah, it is, but if there's anyone that's buying miners just for that, I'd be pretty surprised. So to me, it certainly is going to be standing on its own, but that is an added benefit of being in early.
Well, and so Rocketech, how are you approaching the shift change? How much of it is you're calculating, getting involved in the wonders, the first proof of stake collection, and how much of it is just you're focused on the miners collection and you want to get that one you want?
Well, see, I'm in this position where I love my miners. I don't really want to trade any of them that I have. So if I can acquire more, I would really only be targeting like one to get an extra wonder. I think I'm set up for 2 or 3 wonders right now, and probably be a good entry point for me without going overboard right now. So I think I'm gonna be pretty mellow as far as attacking this shift, and kind of just watching and seeing what happens with the ones I have after the fact.
No, I think you're kind of where a lot of us smaller collectors are. Rocketech. What about you, Kyle? You're not the top 10, but you're certainly one of the larger collections. And how do you approach it? Are you really focused on the wonders? And Frenchie has said, and it's hard because he doesn't want people focused on the wonders, but it's hard not to get excited, right, about every collection that Frenchie comes out. So
right.
So Kyle, for you, how much of this is you're just focused on the shift change to get a better miner, and how much of it is I have to be equally focused on the wonders strategy?
Yeah. So up until the recent announcement, or the more recent announcement of another community being able to 1-to-1 with the miners to get wonders. I was totally focused on the shift change. Now I have to really rethink. If I trade off 15, like I told you I was thinking about doing earlier, that's going to cut the wonders that I'm allocated in half, basically. So right now it's the wonders are number one, and it would have to be some great deals and just see how the shift change goes. If nobody's really active, or there's way more available than what we assume, like there's 3,500. Are they going to do 1,000? Are they going to do 100? Or are they going to do 50? Where BJamps is already committed to 10%. So I know there's 10% I won't be getting. So I've got to be really selective with it. So I don't know. So right now it's wonders number one, and then shift change would be number 2.
Kyle, can I just jump in there? I just want to correct you, just so
okay,
you're thinking about it correctly when you're making this decision. When you because today you are set up to get 30 wonders, right? If you were to send in 15, you wouldn't be losing 15 wonders. You'd be losing, well, I guess 8.
Yeah.
For every 2 you send in. So I don't want you to think that you would be sacrificing half of your miners. It would be like a quarter of them.
Yeah. No, okay, I understand. I was talking to half of the 15 is what I was.
Gotcha.
Was
okay.
my
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure that
I appreciate that.
You're making the decision right.
I may not have said that correctly, but that's what I was meaning. But yeah, I appreciate it.
And Jamps, on the screen you'll see we covered it before, but what happens to the miners traded in? Another reason for folks watching this who are not part of the ecosystem this is something that BP does that's unique. They're going to take what's traded in, they're going to lock it away for a minimum of 3 years. But Frenchie said he expects it to be much longer. And of course, everything could change, but that's what's been said so far.
Yeah, well, what can't change, what I would guarantee you isn't going to change is these things are going to be locked up for a long time. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. All right, and James, if you want to look at the next slide on there, just some of the basics about this shift change.
Yeah, so they are saying it's going to be sometime in January, hopefully the first half, but I don't know. And they're going to be doing it utilizing the new Blokpax trading tool, which is awesome because I think that we're going to start using this more and more for miners. Because our community is really unique in the aspect there's so many transfers, right? There's so many deals and trades made. Well, that's great. We have a great community, but what's not good about that is that's data that's really not going out to the masses. So I think that there might be a way utilizing Frenchie's working on it, I know, but utilizing this Blokpax trading tool going forward, where maybe more data is able to be disseminated from that.
Speaking of the trading tool, Kyle, did you use it in this last RAS drop that they had?
Oh yeah, that's the only thing I used if I could.
Okay, and you used. I know when they first posted the link, I went in there and nothing was in there yet, and so I kind of went back to the old habits, and I'm like, I'll focus on it later. So I never got the chance. What about you, Rocketech? Did you use the new Blokpax trading tool?
Yeah, I did. It took. It had a few things that were a little different, and once I got the hang of it, it was pretty quick, pretty easy. Just make sure you refresh.
What was different?
So the only issue I had, where it's one of the first times I've had this problem, was where I submit a trade and then the trade comes back up. You got to make sure you delete the wallets from the send to box, because it doesn't delete. I was thinking about sending that, it doesn't refresh automatically and remove that previous wallet. That was really the only problem I had. Other than that, it was super smooth, easy to do, easy to see all of your Blokpax items right there in your face.
James, what about you? Did you have any issues with it?
I actually didn't use it. I forgot about it, honestly, because I was not trading. I barely traded last drop. I was trying to sell everything to buy more miners. So I did do some trades, but it was few and far between, and honestly, it just slipped my mind.
Okay. Kyle, what about you? You mentioned you used it. Did you have any of the issues that Rocketech said he had?
No, actually, I was kind of frustrated because it kept deleting out the wallet, and I had to keep re-entering it. So yeah, I had the exact opposite effect. But yeah, I used it the whole time and loved it because I was actually chasing one of the gold tokens and a higher value card. So I was trading 40 for 5 or 40 for 6 of the lower, so it was so much easier for using that tool than going to OS and going that way.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think it's only going to get better, but I'll say for a beta it sounds like for a beta test, it is in excellent shape for this point of its development. We're going to move on now. James, I think one of the things you want to do is you want to take a look at some of the Blokpax held miners to see what folks might be able to get their hands on when this shift change happens. The first one we have up was submitted by Patches, and he's eyeing this one. So I'll start with you, James, and just get your general thoughts. You can see on there kind of the image and the different traits that we're looking at.
Sure. So yeah, I really like the wild hairs and the white wild hair paired with the Tommy Knocker. Pretty darn cool. The overalls kind of just bleed into it. Kind of makes it look to me like it doesn't have anything on. I like this one a lot because I really don't want to lose out on them. But after that, I'm going to be looking for deals, and it's just going to have to, make sense to me.
I know you don't want to give away your strategy, but let me ask you this. Since the floor is 3 for 1, would you trade 3 in for this for this miner, James?
Yes.
Okay. Kyle, what about you? Would you trade in 3 miners for this miner in front of you, miner 4374?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What are your thoughts about it? I mean, would you like to see it when you're thinking of the ones Blokpax has in their vault? Would this be one of the ones you definitely want to see released?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in the market for a wild hair, and especially one of the more rare ones with, you know, the white or the pink, like maybe you have. Maybe we can talk later. But anyway, this would definitely be one I'd be interested in. Again, with that being said, how many total are going to be released? Are we going to be privy to the entire release? Like, are we going to know the list of everything that's going to be released and how and all that? That's going to be really where my strategy comes in. Do I try to go and attack one early, or do I wait and catch one later?
Yeah, it's fascinating what you're talking about. If they just drip them out one at a time, you might be and if you don't know how many, you could say, well, is there only going to be 5 released? Is it going to be 50? Is it going to be 500? And of course, that will change your strategy. So
exactly.
What do you think, though, from knowing how Frenchie is transparent, but he likes to play games, but it doesn't seem like the type of game he might play. Do you think before they start the process, they'll let you know how many total and how they're going to drop them? Do you think that's how it'll come out, or do you think it'll be a little bit more, hey, here's a surprise?
No, I think it will be. Well, I hope that it will be, you know, kind of like this whole process has been. Ask the community, you know, do the polls, see how many, you know, and maybe they're gauging that based on how we're picking the ones we like and things like that now. So I don't think he'll do like 50 and then that was such a great success that he'll say, oh, surprise, we're going to do another 50. I think once he has it figured out, he'll let everyone know. But, you know, whether or not he'll send out a list or like a, you know, like with the drop list, that I'm not sure about, but I would assume he would lean towards that.
Well, maybe we can get Frenchie on Miners After Dark, and he can release it here. You guys can be the first.
No, that'd be great.
All right, so Rocket Tech is on the screen. You would have seen Miner 321 come up. This is another one held in the Blokpax wallet. Again, for folks just tuning in, we're talking about the shift change, where Blokpax is going to allow you to trade in some of your lost miners for their lost miners that they hold in a Blokpax in various Blokpax wallets. So, Rocket Tech, what's your thought about this one? Would you be willing to trade in? Well, we don't want to give away your strategy. Would you trade in the minimum 3 for this guy? And what are your thoughts about it?
Absolutely. I mean, the green hoodie alone, I would do that. Add in the white canary, and that's a slam dunk for sure. This is, I would say, if this one comes up, this is going to be a top one that a lot of people are chasing.
So, Rocket Tech, let me ask you. You've seen Jam's Santa PFP because he throws it in our face daily and minutely, usually. But don't you think this looks like his Santa if you threw a green hood over him and then threw a white canary? Like, I could see those two hanging out together like twin brothers.
Oh, totally. This is like if Link dressed up as Santa Claus, this would be it.
All right, Kyle, what are your thoughts about this one?
Oh, you know how I like the hoodies. So, yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, the canaries are growing on me. I've got a black canary, which I really like. But, yeah, for sure on this one.
James, if the community could give you one pass, if there's one Blokpax miner that they would give you one pass on, would this be the one that they hold, or would it be a different one?
This wouldn't be the top one, but we're not going to. There's zero chance I'm going to tell anyone what the top one is. That being said, if this one is on there, you know, I'll definitely be going hard at it. I will not say what I'll pay for it. But, you know, here's the thing. That big white beard paired with the hoodies and like that facial structure, I don't even know how to really describe it. Huge sucker for that. Then you mix in the nice headlamp and then the white canary. I mean, I'm a huge fan of all the canaries, but the white canary is the rarest. And pairing it up with that big white beard, I mean, it's almost not fair. I mean, this is a killer one.
I think we are all in agreement there. All right, moving on to the next one is that Kyle, we've got miner 4842 coming up on the screen. What are your general thoughts about this one in the Blokpax wallet?
Yeah, this is outside of the hoodie. This is my second favorite attribute, and this particular one is green, which is my favorite color. So yeah, this one I would definitely go after. Probably do one better than whatever Jamps would go for.
Doubtful, my friend.
James, what do you love about this one?
Well, I mean, I went to the edge of the earth to finally land myself a green gas mask. It was not easy. They are extremely locked up. I love their appearance. To me, they're like the equivalent to me, and other people might not agree with this, but kind of like the alien are to punks. Those who don't know, some of the most valuable punks. I don't know. I can't get enough of these. I will say, if this one comes up, whatever he starts a Dutch auction at, I think that there is a very good chance that it gets taken right at that number.
And for folks just tuning in, just a reminder, as James mentioned, the shift change will be a Dutch auction, which is it will start high and then it will move lower until someone is willing to trade in the number of miners that Blokpax is requesting for the miner from their vault. Rocketech, are you a fan of the gas mask or no?
I am a fan usually of things I can't afford, and this seems to fall into that category. If I was going to post a Dutch auction on this, knowing that we've got B-Jamps and some Kyle action in here, I'd probably start this thing at like 50 miners trade in and then just let it fall and see where they hit.
So you're really trying.
I mean, I just to be clear, if it did start 50, I'm not saying that I would pull the trigger at that, but I mean, I wouldn't blame him. I mean, I wouldn't like to see it start at 50, but I mean, yeah, it's, I finally got mine. I know there's some other big holders though that would really like one that does not have one yet. So yeah,
I would love to. I listen to everything that Blokpax puts out about the artist for the Lost Miners from Charles, the award-winning artist. And it's interesting because the green gas mask is 0.16% traded. And I wonder if when he was designing the gas mask, if he was thinking, okay, this is going to be really incredible. People are going to want this. I'm going to make it rare on so few miners. Or if his creation was like, I'm going to throw it in just for fun. Do you think, Jamps, that he had any idea some of these traits would be as sought after as they are?
I don't know. I mean, some of the rarest traits, like wild pink hair, green gas mask, snorkel, things like that. They don't have much in common, right? When I'm saying these things. So I don't know. I don't know. It would be interesting to get Charles on here one day though and find out.
All right, the next one we have up, the miner 2628 in the Blokpax vault. Jams, is this one of, if this came out, would this be, I know you don't want to give it away, so let's say, would this be in the top third, middle third, or bottom third of the Blokpax?
Top third for sure. So I sent, some people, I heard one person, I don't remember who it was in Discord, said that they sent in 100 different miners that they would like to trade for to Blokpax. I did the opposite. I think I sent in, about 5. So I picked ones that I really, really, really want, figuring that there was going to be plenty that other people were recommending that I would also, like to have. So I'll be honest, if I didn't already have a really nice wild pink hair, this one right here, I would have had on my list to have them do it. But since I do have the wild pink hair, I didn't have this one on my list. That being said, if it's up there, good chance I'm playing for it.
Yeah, and Discord user Keizo mentions it's also a fire body. Only 4% of that trade. So the combination of fire body with wild pink hair Kyle, what are your thoughts? Oh, sorry, James. Go ahead.
Just before Kyle goes, it just those two features together, and then that big white beard. It just looks awesome. I mean, it's the fire body goes really well with certain things, and this wild pink hair is definitely one of them in my eyes.
Yeah. All right, Kyle. What are your thoughts about this one?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with B-Jams. But another thing he was saying that was very interesting, and I may have overdone the assignment. You were talking about some people put in about 100 or so. I think I literally did over 1,000 rating on, but I was doing them like from 2 to 1 all the way up to 10 to 1, all the way up to some of the 1-on-1s. I may have put willing to possibly go 20 to 1. So it'll be interesting to see the participation overall and how this all shakes out, because it's all going to, in my mind, determine how many are going to be available.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Could I have picked, I never would have done 1,000, but could I have picked 20 or 30 that I would love to have? Yeah, easily. But guess what? I don't want to I don't want to, go from over 200 miners down to, 30 miners.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that. And I don't either. I was just trying to give everyone that was decent, in my mind, a fair rating because I didn't know where they were going to go with this. If I just pick 5, I would pick, there was like 2 or 3 1-on-1s and a couple gas masks and a couple of hoodies that, absolutely I would take. But I wasn't sure how to give them the best information. And for me, it was the more information they had, the better. So,
and one hint, you just said different ones that you would have picked if you only did it. I'll say, what was not on my list of ones that I sent in was a 1-on-1. I didn't pick any of the 1-on-1s.
Could it be because you have one?
Interesting. Okay.
I'm breaking up here. Sorry.
I believe, James, they said because you have one.
Yes. Yeah.
I
that's
think
a good point.
Definitely, that doesn't hurt. But I just think that,
when I get better at the graphics, James, when I get better at the graphics, I'm going to have a Daddy Warbucks image to go up for you. So it's like, hey, you can have lots of dollars, but the next dollar looks just as pretty, right?
Yeah, but to me, if he does put a 1-on-1 in there, and I don't know that he will, probably is going to start at 50. And that's my guess. I think someone will definitely pay that. And it's not going to be me. Here's the thing. If the shift change was just going to be for this 1-of-1, I'd send 50 of those and I wouldn't look back, most likely.
Right.
But there's 4 or 5 I really, really want that are going to cost me a good amount of miners. So I'm probably not in the position to make a real solid play at a 1-on-1.
And like I said, once again, I was rating anything potentially that I would like. It wasn't just like the ones that I absolutely would die for. So I should have probably narrowed that down a bit. But they've got the information.
Apology to whoever had to go through all that data.
So James, if I heard you correctly, you were saying they would start if they started a 1-of-1 at 50, that wouldn't surprise you. And then don't you think they would start at higher? Because at the floor price right now, of course you have to sweep the floor to get to so many, but say it's $500. So 50 of them would be 20 you would have. So you're talking about that would come up to 25,000. So what do you follow it closer than I do? What was the last 1-of-1 sale?
It was like 5 or 6 ETH. But it's the market has definitely grown a lot from that.
Right. So you're thinking it's gone from 7,000 up to about they should start it at 25,000 to find out where that floor.
That's the minimum number I think they would even think about starting a 1-on-1 at. And again, I'm not sure that they're even going to include a 1-on-1 in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1-on-1s seem to me like they could be used better, like maybe as a prize in one of the drops, and or to attract other communities into the
a BPX auction.
Yeah.
Rocketech, what's your thoughts on one of one? If one became available, let's pretend you have play money. If one becomes available, what would you pay for it? Say you had the disposable funds to actually go. How high would you go for it?
Right now, I think I'd probably cap out around 10 to 15K, but that's making those one ETH sales that happened already look really good.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, I'd say 15K would be my limit.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I know you guys are saying that maybe there's better things for the one of one, but it'll be interesting to see if, in Raz, we always have that Michael Jordan card or that Mickey Mantle card, the one that is the gold card that, that bumps up to 50,000 that we get every once in a while and the elite drops. So maybe Frenchie says, I want a one of one. I want to see what the market can bear. The other thing is, right, he could put it out there and he could put 100 miner trade in and just have it to dangle and then pull it back because it doesn't hit, nobody reaches his floor, which is 100 miners.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the last Blokpax miner we have. So we'll wrap it up with any final thoughts, and we'll start with you, Kyle. Is that any final thoughts about shift change that you want to bring up?
No, I mean, I think we really covered everything. There's a lot of unknowns right now as far as, what's going to be available. And I think that's going to drive, strategies. So I'm just excited and looking forward to it. And just thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Rocketech, what about you?
Yeah, I would echo that. I mean, this is a really cool opportunity for a lot of people with different strategies to focus on different things, whether they want to focus on the value of all of their commons increasing or trading all those in for a really good one. Pretty excited for it.
Cool. Jams, why don't you have the final say on shift change?
So I'll start by saying not financial advice, but I will give some advice. If anyone is thinking about, if someone knows that, I want to pick up another 3 miners for this or whatever, think about doing it sooner rather than later. I think as we get really close to the date, I think that there is going to be a rush on them. After the fact, if you want to get floor miners at all, even if it's not for trading it in, I would get them now, because after this happens, I think everyone's going to be pretty surprised when they see, what that might do to the floor.
Well, we appreciate everyone for tuning in. Kyle, Rocketech, B-Jams, thank you for the show. I learned a lot about shift change actually from you all. That's one of the things I love about being part of this show, is learning from everybody we have on the show. And that's it for episode 3 of Miners After Dark. You can hear it live every Thursday at 8:30 Eastern, and you can catch it on the rerun on YouTube. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.